Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now let's try to save our scene, because we already have some work in here, and if something happens, we are going to lose it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, and you can see that we have a shortcut for that, and it's called Save Project. You can press Ctrl S, and that way you're going to be able to save your project. Now in this case, I already have a name, so if I press Ctrl S, I'm going to save it. I save it as an untitled, with an untitled name. But I want to click on this one called Save Project As. If you have the option right now, you can press this one and you're going to get kind of the same window. So I'm just going to press in here and I'm going to be able to get into this window, and now I can give it a name. So in this case, I'm going to call this 01.01. I'm going to put that sign, and then I'm going to go and say beach scene. All right, and I just know that this is my first version. I have 0.01, which is the first one, and then I press enter, and now I have my job saved. And if something happens, I have my file ready to be opened again. So that's really cool. Now let's try to add some materials to our object. So first of all, if we go to the material section underneath here, you can see that we can create materials, and there's a lot of these, a lot of cool things in here. Right now, you, for example, can go and navigate and try to get some of these kind of cool objects, but you can try them, right? So, for example, if I go to, let's say, grass material, so I can create that. You can see that is a grass material. I can place it on top of this guy. And right now, you don't see a lot, but if I render this, you can see that now we have grass on that specific object. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to press Ctrl Z in order to undo. And what I want is something a little bit different. So I'm just going to go here to create, and I have materials. And you can see that I have new default material in here. You have this, you can go to standard material. But what I want to do is just double click on this region. So double click, and I'm going to get a material automatically. Now this one, I can double click on this little guy here, and I'm going to get the name axis, and I can call it, I don't know, surfing board. Okay, surfing board, and let's just keep it like that. All right, so it's gonna be white. No, let's change the color to something like, I don't know, something yellow, orangey, or even this kind of pink color. All right, so what we want is to have something different. So that's going to be the color of that. And now you can see how I just drag this, place it on top of this, and now I have it in here. Now, because I did that twice, you can see that here on my objects, I have two tags of that. These little things here are called tags. So I'm going to take this tag, I'm going to delete it. And I only want one in this case for this object. Now I want to take another one for this object. So what I could do is I could double click in here, or I could just press Control, click and drag, and I'm going to be able to create a copy of this material. Now you can see that it gets the same name, everything kind of the same. So I'm just going to double click on the name, and I'm going to change that to beach ball, and let's give it the color. It's going to be white, so I'm going to call that white color. And I'm going to double click on it. And now when you double click on your object, you're going to get access to all the properties in the material editor. So in here, I have the color property right now selected. And inside here, I can go and say, you know what, I want a white color. So I can go and increase these values and get it just like this. And I can actually add a texture if I want to. I can go and say, I want to add a gradient, a color, something, effects. For example, I can distort things, surfaces, formula, galaxy, marble, metal, planet, rust. I mean, I can do a lot of different cool things. So I can go like that, and now you can see that it looks like a earth kind of thing. And I can take this material, put it on top of this object, and as you can see right now, it looks like we have some sort of a earth kind of planet in there, which is not what I want. So I'm going to double click on it, and this is just because I want to show you that we have a lot of options in here. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to click on clear. And now we are going to take our red value here, really kind of red value like that. And we want to have just half of this object with that specific color. Now, we know that we have 25 divisions, and that's something that I don't want to do with this object. So what I want to do is I want to take this object, and I'm going to go back to my object, and in here I'm going to take these segments, and I'm going to reduce that by, let's say, 25 or 24 could be an option. So I can go like that, and right now I don't see all the different portions of my object, but if I click on this one and I make it editable, now you can see that if I go and click on this polygon option, I get this kind of behavior where now I am detecting polygons. And don't worry about this. We are going to talk about this for now. Just see what am I going to be doing. So I'm going to do it again. So I'm just going to. This is the regular one. I'm going to make it editable with 24 segments. I'm going to click in here, and now I am selecting this polygon section. If I select points, you can see the points. If I select this, you can see the lines. And if I select this, I can see these polygons. So what I want is I want to select this. I'm going to click in here and then shift and drag. All right, because I want to keep my selection just like we did. And now you can see that I am selecting only that portion. Now I can go and say, you know what, I want a bigger portion of this. So I don't know, I don't have anything planned. I mean, in terms of how many polygons I want to use. Oops, you can see that I am moving polygons now, and that's something that I don't want to get closer to this. And I'm going to select this region. And we have something that looks kind of like a quarter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, and yeah, we're gonna do it like that. So I'm gonna take this I'm gonna press Shift in order to make that selectable. 4 like that, and I can go all the way like this. And now if I select this tool, you can see that I have an option here called only select visible elements. If I uncheck that, I'm going to be able to go all the way underneath the things that I am not seeing. So in this case, for example, if I want, I can press Shift, and I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to be selecting things that probably I don't want, but things that I want. In this case, just like this. So for these bigger regions, I'm going to use that, and then click again, and then I'm going to be more careful, and I'm going to be selecting these other portions. All right, and then let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 4, and I want this. Shift click, and here I'm going to be careful. So I want these polygons, and I want these guys in here, and I want these guys in here, and I want these guys, and I want to paint all of this. And I am being very careful because I don't want to make a mess, and then I don't want you to stay here and just see me redoing all that. So now what you can see here is that we have a selection based on this object. So now what I can do is go to select in this menu, and I can click on this option called set selection. So I'm going to create another tag, and I'm going to click in here, and now you can see that I have a tag in here where I can see polygon selection tag, polygon selection. So I have that. And now this is really cool because I can give it a name, and this selection is going to be, let me just give it a name. I'm going to call it selection for white or red in this case. Okay, I'm just going to call it like this. So I have this is my red, but the actual color is white. So I'm just going to duplicate this, control and drag. I'm going to duplicate that. This one is going to be red, so I'm just going to change the name of this one. Instead of being white 1, I'm going to go and change this to bold red. And then in this one, which is the white one, I'm going to double click, and I'm going to change the color to white. All right, and then I'm going to close this. And now you can see that I get the white color because that's the one that I was specifying in here. But now I'm going to take the red, and I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to place it. And you can see here that I am not selecting my object. I'm going to press in here model, okay, in order to go back to my object. And now you can see that I am selecting this object. I'm going to take this option, and I'm going to bring it into here. You can see that I have a no option where I can not take this tag. I'm going to apply it to the actual object, which is the beach ball. So I'm going to place it like here. And now you can see that I get 2 different tags. Now I can organize this. I can say you are going to be the first one. And now you can see that white is taking over and red is not. So I can place red in here on top of that one, and that's the one that is going to take over. Now what I want is actually have the white, and we call our selection red. So I want to take this red, and white is going to be the main, and this is going to be my selection. So what I want now, I want to take this material tag, and in here you can see that there is an option called selection, where I can go and bring this selection tag, and I can place it right in here. Now you can see that right away there's nothing happening in here. If I take this red and place it after that, now you can see the magic happening. All right, so keep the organization of how your objects are going to be applied. Now, because we are using the tag and the tag is in this position, so we are getting this kind of result. You can organize your tags after your materials or before, it doesn't really matter, but now you can see that we have this type of behavior. Now we are all the way around here. Let's try to create another material for this table, which could be just white material. I'm going to double click in here, or Control Z, undo, create new default material, and it's going to be the same thing. Now this one is going to be called table. Okay, and we are going to give it a color like, I don't know, blue, some sort of blue, and really intense like this. And we're gonna close it, we're gonna take it, and we're gonna look at this. If I take my material, I want to show you this. I open my table. If I take the table and I apply that to the base, only the base is gonna get that color. If I take it to the other portion, it's gonna have it on the top. But actually what I can do is just take these two, and I can take the table and I can put it on the father, which is the table, the null object, and all of the objects are going to get the color. And that is really nice. Now, that way, I don't have to worry about 3 different materials. If I want to change the color of this one, well, if all the materials are using, or the objects are using the same material, everything is going to change at the same time. But what I want you to see is that I can change the color at any time, and I'm going to get this kind of nice result, all right, where I have this type of behavior. Now we have that, and we can create a floor. As you can see here, I can click on the floor option, and now let's say that we want to add something like sand. I'm going to undo this. I'm going to remove the floor, and if I want to create something like sand, I will take another object. In this case will be the landscape object, and now you can see that it looks like a sand, but it's too small. So what I want to do is go to the properties. I'm going to go to what we call size, and I'm going to increase these values to something like, I don't know, I can go 10,000 like this, right? And then I'm going to jump all the way to the other value, 10,000, right? So I'm going to make it big, and you can see that that's what I get. And actually, no, this one is really, really big. So sorry about that. Let me make this one 10, 1, 2, 3,000, and this one needs to go 10, 1, 2, 3,000. All right. So now we have that. And that's the size of our sand. And now you can see that all these objects, they look like they are like that. And now if you increase this value as well, you're going to get what we call the landscape. But we don't want that, because we want just something that looks like kind of sandy. And we could play with the parameters and create something more realistic. But for now, let's be honest, we're just playing with our values. So we don't want to have everything kind of perfect at this point. And we want to just get a quick setup and start working with our materials and our objects. So that's something that could look like that. So I will need to double click in here and now create a new material. I'm going to call this sand. And now I can take this, place it on this object, double click on it, and try to get a color that simulates something like sand. All right, this is not the proper value. Well, I'm just gonna put it like this, and there we go. So now we have something that looks more like that. And basically, that's how we can add materials, how we can manipulate them, how we can move them, apply them, and how we can edit them. If you want to re-edit something, double click on it, and then you're gonna be able to manipulate this option like the color, the luminance, transparency. Each one of them it's a channel on itself. And they have different variations. For now, just keep in mind that we are working with these values, and you can do the same thing with this surfing board. We could add a line, a straight line in between this, in the middle of this, or create your own design. So for now, we have that. Let's save our object. I'm going to go here, click, and then I'm going to go to Save Project As. You have Control-Shift-S. This is the one that you need to remember. And now let's just call this 0.02. All right, and that's going to give us a different name, so we have a different version. If we want to go back to the first version, we have that. If we want to work with this, we have it already here. So thank you very much. I will see you in our next class. Bye-bye for now, and take care.